All right, welcome back to episode, I think this is 7 of Bad Financial Decisions. It's gonna be less of an unboxing and more of a story time today because I've already shot this video once and then I had some issues that I'll explain in the video, and I guess let's just get into it though. As always, I'm Samson Judges. This is Book of Judges if you're new here, and let's get started. Shouldn't be that big of a guess at this point on what's coming up because we all know the trend I've been on. But I first picked up a very nice copy of Punisher 218. Yeah, 218. And this is the, I don't know if we can see it, this is the lenticular cover. There you go. And got it in a 9.8. And this is apparently when Frank Castle dons the War Machine armor, and the big hype now is that he might go into the MCU with the armor. I don't know. But I got this at what I consider a smoking deal. I ended up buying another book. I'll explain the story when I get to the second book. But I bought the book and they had free shipping, and I was like, you know, they cut me a pretty good deal on the first one. I was like, let's see what they'll do on this one, because they had multiple copies, which was kind of odd. And I ended up getting this for like $26.75, I think it was. I'll put the price up. Comps, it's not a book that sells often like the other one. I think the last comp was like 65 with, there was some 75, like, but the offer had been taken, so who knows what they could have been. But 26 for a 9.8, and it looks pretty nice. I mean, I've recently got into the, which we'll get into the next one, that CGC either just isn't that good or there's some stuff going around. I don't know. You talk on comic sites, and feel free to comment below. I know some people, there seems to be that big divide of love and hate for CGC or graded stuff in general, which I know as a video game collector, I get it. I hate graded games. I think it's stupid. I have a ton of sealed games, and the only thing graded does, in my opinion, is one, it makes it, you know, a concrete price. Well, in grading games it doesn't, but in comics, it puts more of a price on it. Like, there's, just from my like experience of looking at comics to buy, like, I've seen better looking 9.2s than like 9.6s. And I don't know, you know, again, when you're looking on eBay, it's very hard to look at exact stuff like, you know, what makes this book. And then like you've got the grading notes if you look it up on CGC, but most of the time the stuff that they nitpick is so minor anyway. Like I was recently looking at a copy of, I think it's like the first Macross or whatever. And there was a 9.4 that I was like, well, I was looking at a 9.2. I was like, well, if I could get the 9.4, I'd rather have the 9.4. But the front cover in the lower left-hand side looked like it had, it wasn't a crease. It was just, it almost looked like it had a drawn line. And it wasn't mentioned in the notes. And just looking at the 9.2 looked better. And again, it's $40 cheaper. So it's like, why not? I mean, you always want to go, again, I was told when I got into comics, you want to buy the highest grade you can afford because whatever reason. However, I don't know. I mean, I think when you're getting into 9s, it's not that big of a deal. I think that comes into more when you're going really old school books. Like obviously if you could afford a really high grade like X-Men 101, go for that. I can't. Probably could if I quit spending money on littler comics, but hey, where's the fun in that? So let's get into the next one. This was the book I actually bought first. And I think these, just to put it in perspective, I think these books were listed at like 80 bucks. They were like $79.99. And again, the place that had them on eBay had a lot, like, I'm talking like 11 of each. And I thought it was just somebody relisting the same book to kind of get it seen more. I know that happens sometimes, but no, I checked the certs on them. They were all different. But I picked up Howard the Duck #1 in a 9.8. Now here's where we get into the little interesting part of the story. I picked this up for $48.15. And again, that's almost half price. I mean, it was from $79.99 to $48.15. And another book that does not sell often. This is the first appearance of Gwenpool, who, if you don't know, has the pet shark Jeff, the pet land shark Jeff. And Jeff is real big in Marvel Rivals. The first appearance of Jeff is like in a 9.8, I think it's like a $300 or $400 book. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense to me when it's her pet. And this was one of those I thought was like, oh, it would probably chance going up because you're going to feed off that. However, I'm almost positive it was Gwenpool. I'll try to put up like a little clip here from it, but apparently there's something where it's kind of like the Spider-Man thing where she's tied into like different areas. Like she's tied in with Sony and Marvel, I think. But I mean, you look at that and you go, well, they put Spider-Man in the Marvel. I don't know. Look, I'm not a movie guy. I am a movie guy, but I don't know the ins and outs of Marvel to Sony. But yeah, so the first appearance of Gwenpool, you can see, let's see, there we go. And then 9.8, now here's where it got a little iffy. So I got this book, and when I was shooting the video the first time, I noticed the bottom felt weird. And I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to get this on camera, but the bottom is like, it definitely opens. Like, can you see that? Like, yeah. And I don't know about like tampering with comics when it comes to graded stuff. I know people do it with cards, people reseal stuff. This does not look like it's being resealed. I think this is just somebody who probably either had them and didn't store them well or something like that. But most of the time you get like frosting on the edges when you break them apart and then seal them back up. I asked some people, they were like, it's common. Again, there was a ton of people that just bashed CGC completely. That's fine. But the thing I noticed, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this good on camera, is there was a lot of like, for a 9.8, I know it's so minute, I don't even know if you can see it. But like that corner does not look great, and neither does, I think it's this bottom one. Like, and then I just, you know, as a person that struggles with anxiety in general, your brain instantly goes to, oh, you've been had. And one person said it really good on the Facebook page that I did, or the Facebook article, of if you think there's a problem, it's always gonna be a problem. I'm like, it's a fair assumption. So I asked about a return, because they accepted returns, and they said, no problem, if you're unhappy with the book, send it back. I'm like, okay. So I filed the return, and I wait. And like 4 days go by, and I'm like, this seems a little odd. And I get a message from eBay that's like, hey, the seller didn't respond, so we just refunded your money and you're good. So technically that book's free, I guess. For sake of the Bad Financial Decisions series, we're gonna count this as $48.15 to see if it goes up or down, but technically free. So yeah, I don't know. That whole thing's odd. This comic could have been resealed. That, like I said, that process was weird. But I just don't see the part of resealing a comic that cheap. I mean, grading's like 30 bucks, I think. You know, even that comic's probably at least $10 raw. So it's like, you know, you're grading a comic for 30 just to get the cert and then sliding in to make what, $5? That doesn't make sense. So I don't think that's the case. I just think something happened there. Maybe the message got lost. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't worth returning because, you know, it probably would have cost, what, $15-ish to return something like that. I don't know. I thought they would have at least said something like that, but again, I don't know. Drop a comment below. Let me know how y'all feel about graded books. I know there's been a lot in the Bad Financial Decisions series, and it's just kind of what I'm into right now. With it being cold here, you can't really go to flea markets to find other stuff. And the other things I've been buying aren't really great for the series because they're really hard to comp anyway. I might put one in later this month because I've got a couple things coming in. But let me know your opinion on CGC. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You know, just let me know. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.